Is it right to say that the hospital was divided into 5 departments? General medicine, obstetrics, where women could deliver, a medicine production department. This department was divided into the production of traditional medicine and the production of modern medicine, a service that was in charge of the kitchens, and a department that was in charge of training. So does this organization correspond to what was set up at Tram Kok Hospital?
Yes, that is correct.
And can we say that you would supervise each one of these departments, or were you not in charge of some of these departments?
For the 5 departments, I joined in as part of the management team with the chief.
And you said yesterday, for example, that there were cesareans that were being done. Who would do so? Who would do so in the hospital that you were heading?
The cesarean that I spoke of yesterday was not done in the district hospital. In fact, the operation was done at the sector hospital by a specialist.
And would you yourself help women deliver? And what would happen if there was an emergency?
For baby delivery, and if my medical staff could not do it, then I would lend my hand to assist in the process of the delivery.
Were you in charge of the training of your staff? And was this medical as well as political training?
I was in charge only of the medical training, and for political training, it was the responsibility of the female chief of the hospital.
Who was in charge of the recruitment of the staff? Was this done at the hospital level, or was this done at the district level, or at the sector level, or at the zone level? Who was in charge of recruiting the staff?
For staff recruitment, I was not involved, and the district hospital did not have the authority to do so. In fact, the staff were sent by the district chief. For instance, the district chief would write a letter recommending or instructing that we take in a female staff, and that we had to provide her with a training.
And you told us yesterday that most of the staff was female. And I read that Angkar did not trust people who had gone to university. Ankar favors peasant women because they had not gone to school like others, because they were too busy working for the revolution. So is that the line that was followed when staff was recruited? Would they favor women, and would they favor women who came from the peasant classes, and possibly from the poorest of the peasant classes?
Yes, indeed, that was the case. When a staff was sent into the hospital, the status of that staff was in a poor peasant class.
Vous-même,
And you yourself, you said the following: Ankar did not wish to choose people who were too educated, people who were more liable to betray it. Intellectuals could have betrayed Ankar because they know how to think. I understood how the regime worked, and I would make sure that I would not make mistakes. So this is at D313/1/2/409, French ERN 0080 86 36 to 37. So do you confirm what I just said?
Yes, that is correct.
quel âge?
How old were the young women or the young children that you would send as a staff to work in a hospital? How old were these people?
The female staff actually was even at 13 years old. It ranged from 13 to 15 to 17. And after the status of a widow with 2 or 3 children, they were sent in through the hospital. However, some widows, as I mentioned, they actually all died.
And these children, because they were only 13 and we could say that they were still children, did these children know how to read?
No, they did not. However, we provided them with some limited trainings, 1 or 2 hour session trainings. But the fact is, those young women did not want to study. They only studied for a day or 2, then they stopped doing it. So they did not really know how to read. And even for the mature women, the majority of them did not know how to read.
So what were their qualifications, or what were their functions? Would they perform injections, and to which kind of medicine did they have access?
For the young female medical staff, they did involve with the injection. Their main role was to clean and wash the syringes and the needles. And for the mature female medical staff, they dealt with vaccination or injection. However, usually they would seek my advice. And after I went down to the patient to check the status, then I would let them go ahead with the injection or not.
Je suppose.
But I imagine that you were not present at every injection. They had to be somewhat autonomous. So sometimes were there accidents?
As for the injection, some of the medical staff did not have much experience, and sometimes there was a reaction from the injection as they push the liquid through early and through quickly into the vein.
And this would lead to what kind of accident?
Are you referring to the accident from the injection or from any other treatment?
Alors,
maybe I'll be a bit clearer about this. You also spoke about problems regarding the injection of serum. This is in document D313/1.2.409. So, again, one of your interviews at DCCAM, French ERN 0080 86 63 62 to 63. And you said the following, free translation, regarding serum. We would fear that the serum would kill the...
President Judge, please wait, and Councillor Kong Sam On, you may proceed. Kong Sam On. Mr. President, please let the judge give the reference in Khmer and French and English languages as well. Thank you. President Judge Lavage, could you please provide the reference in English and the Khmer languages, as this is a normal practice in the proceedings, and we also instruct the parties to provide the relevant references in the official languages. And we, as the judge, I think we also have to adhere to the instructions that we laid down for the parties. Thank you.
Écoutez, je crois que je vais passer à une autre question.
Fine, I think I'll move on to another question because I don't have the Khmer and English ERNs. Do you remember any incidents regarding patients who died after injections of serum?
No, I cannot recall any. In fact, there was no person died as a result of a serum injection, or unless I cannot recall it.
Do you remember having received orders regarding the production of traditional medicine?
On the issue of a traditional medicine, the district secretary instructed me to gather people, older people who worked at the social affairs section at the village level or commune level to come and assist me in producing traditional medicine. And in fact, there were 3 of them who came to work with me. However, they were rather old and later on they died. And we produced traditional medicine from tree barks and other tree leaves and things like that. But I personally had no experience in producing traditional medicine.
Est-ce que
in the so-named Tapoon, who was part of the Office of Social Affairs of the district, was he someone who was specialized in traditional medicine?
Tapoon was a trainer in the area of social affairs, and he was skillful in providing treatments through certain illnesses. However, he died.
est-ce que
And was a nurse by the name of Tan also in charge of producing traditional medicine?
I do not understand the questions, Judge.
Do you know a person by the name of Tan and who was in charge of producing traditional medicine?
entre autres choses?
Among other things.
That name, Tan, does not ring a bell to me.
On the case file, we have an article that was published in the Searching the Truth magazine, published by DCCAM. This article was written by Sokim M. Sokim Eng is the person who interviewed you for DCCAM and who apparently interviewed a certain number of people as well. The document is E3/1919, French ERN 00780396, English ERN 00080505. Khmer ERN 00185398 2405. I don't know the specific ERN, but I think we're here speaking of page 402. And the following is said. Tan, an expert in traditional medicine at a hospital in Trom Kak, stated that Tapum, the person in charge of the production of medicine, had ordered her to mix human gallbladders with flour and a series of plants, and then to transform this mixture into small pills called rabbit dung. So, does this correspond to something that you heard about or to your memory? Free translation.
Through my knowledge, the old men who produce traditional medicines did not use the actual human gallbladders. In fact, there was a traditional medicine tree by the name of Promat Manuh in Khmer, which literally means human gallbladder. That was the name of a tree which was used for the production of traditional medicine.
Bien.
Fine. Now, regarding the modern medicine, would you receive enough modern medicine? And would you make requests to the higher level to receive such medicine? And what were the processes to receive this medicine?
As for the modern medicine, at that time there was a shortage, a daily shortage of modern medicine at the hospital. Of course, we made a request for more, but sometimes there was none. We did not receive it. However, sometimes the supply would come and it would run out in a few days. And the ones that came in were only for the treatment of a few specific illnesses.
Which medicine was missing the most?
The shortage mainly was rather non-specific to me in my experience, because what I did in practice was that when a patient condition became severe and we did not have the medicine for his or her treatment, then I would refer that person to the sector hospital.
So the sector hospital had more medicine than you?
Of course, the sector hospital had more medicine than us at the district hospital.
And if there was a shortage of medicine, would you receive orders to give the scarce medicine that you have and to give this medicine to such and such a person rather than to such and such another person? Was there any kind of discrimination that was operated in the treatment that was provided to the patients at the hospital?
No, there was no discrimination amongst the patients. The medicine that we had, although it was a few, would be used for the treatment of those at a state at a hospital.
Can you tell us which modern medicine was produced at the hospital?
In fact, we produced the medicine. However, the only thing that we was good at was to produce a serum and liquid for the mixture of medicine. For example, we received some B12 or B11 or calcium. Then we would produce the kind of liquid specifically for the mixture of these medicines that we have for the treatment of our patients.
Now I'm going to turn to another subject, and I would like to speak again a little bit about Krang Tachan. Yesterday, you said that you had received a letter from the district chief asking you to go to Krang Tachan to spread DDT because there were mosquitoes and malaria was rife. Is that what you said?
Yes, that is correct.
And you said that you met there the person in charge of Krang Tachang, and you said that his name was Ta'an. Can you confirm?
Yes, that is correct.
Est-ce que vous
And do you know if Ta'an was the relative of other cadres in the district? And in particular, did you hear that he was the younger brother of Ye Bun?
I did not know if he was the elder brother of Ye Bun.
pas Ye
Not Ye Bun, Ye Bun.
mais si grave.
But if you don't know, that's not a problem. You also said, and this is in your record E319.1.22, answers 125 to 128, and you said that you had heard moans, prisoners complaining and moaning. Can you confirm?
Yes, indeed. They were moaning while I went to spray DDT there. I heard the prisoners moaning.
Et selon vous, il y avait combien de détenus à Krang?
According to you, how many detainees were there at Krang Tachan?
I did not know for sure how many they were because I only had a quick look at them as I was afraid, and I saw them all lie down.
Est-ce que vous êtes rentré dans les bâtiments
Did you return to the buildings in which detainees were kept? And were you told that there were insects inside those buildings?
Answer: No, I didn't enter into that buildings, and no one told me that there were insects in that building. But I just made a glimpse. I was scary. I was fearful to myself. And no one told me to spray inside the building. I was instructed to spray DDT fluid in the bush or in the jungle nearby.
Est-ce qu'on vous avait demandé d'amener d'autres produits que du...
Were you told to spray other products other than DDT at Krang Tachan, or that was the only product you sprayed there?
And when I was there at Krang Thachan, I was very cautious. We went with 5 people, and then we had to mix DDT before going there. And we went there and we spent only 30 minutes spraying, and then we returned to our place.
Mais est-ce que vous avez amené des médicaments?
However, did you take along medicines for the patients or alcohol for cleaning wounds, or you brought only the DDT?
Answer: no, I didn't bring anything along.
Vous n'avez jamais reçu du centre de sécurité de Krang Thachan
You never received from the Krang Thachan Security Center any requests for medicines or other products?
Answer: no, I didn't receive any requests from that center.
Est-ce que vous vous souvenez si dans
Do you remember whether in the buildings or above the buildings or attached to the buildings were loudspeakers, or did you hear any music being broadcast or songs being broadcast on the loudspeakers?
Answer: the loudspeakers were hanging on the tree, but I didn't hear any music from the loudspeaker that day.
vous avez également parlé
You also made mention of a person called Dan, and that person is alleged to have worked in the district office. Do you recall that?
Answer: Don is currently the deputy chief of the Royal Gendarmerie at Battambang province.
Est-ce que vous pourriez répéter votre question parce
Can you repeat your answer, please, because we did not hear it due to an interpretation problem?
Answer: I know Don, who is currently a deputy chief of the Royal Gendarmerie in Battambang. It is part of the military police.
Est-ce que Dan, qui faisait partie du bureau
Was Dan, who was a member of the district office, sent to Krang Thachan at any point in time?
Answer: I didn't know about that.
S'agissant du personnel,
Regarding the staff at the hospital, who was in charge of staff discipline?
Answer: at the district hospital, there was a woman maid. There were other female staff. They rotated from one another, including maid, Niang, and I forget another one.
est-ce qu'il y avait des problèmes
Were there any disciplinary problems relating to staff at the hospital, and what types of problems did they encounter?
Answer. The staff at the hospital did not have any serious problem. The chief would instruct them to adhere to high morale, and the staff, all staff, men and women, would respect well the discipline, so there was no problem.
Il n'y a jamais eu de sanction.
Are you saying that no disciplinary measures were ever taken against staff at Krantachan? The staff always had smooth relations with the patients, and none of the patients ever showed this disrespect to the staff members?
Answer, no.
Merci.
Thank you. Can you tell us whether decisions were taken at the level of the hospital, at the level of the district, regarding marriages between staff members at the hospital?
Answers. Talking about marriage of staff, it was decided by the district secretary. When I was at the hospital, I didn't know about that, but the district chief informed that those people need to be married, and they were called to the district office for to get married.
Et selon vous, ces mariages
And according to you, were those who were to be married informed of those marriages, and did they agree to get married or not?
Answer. The staff at my hospital anticipated the issue, and they were matching, and they knew each other before going for that marriage.
Donc, personne, selon vous,
So, according to you, no one was forced to marry anybody they did not wish to marry.
Answer. Yes, you are correct, Judge.
est-ce que le nom de Ing Voot
Does the name Ing Woot mean anything to you?
Answer. No, I don't know this name. I don't know a person called Iangwood.
Pourtant, vous avez fait de longues déclarations là.
And yet you made a long statement regarding that person, but it's not serious. I would like you to provide some information regarding your family now. How many children do you have, sir?
Answer. I have 5 children.
Est-ce que certains de vos enfants ont exercé des responsabilités
Did some of your children hold any official functions, whether in Tramkak district or elsewhere, during the Democratic Kampuchea regime?
Answer. During the K period, all my children were at Tramkak district because they were still young. The 5 of them were living in Tram Kak district.
Est-ce qu'un de vos fils
Did one of your sons serve as the head of the youth in Tram Kak district?
Answer: no. No one, none of my children did that.
Est-ce qu'une de vos filles
Did one of your daughters go to live with Tamok?
Answer: yes. I have 5 children and I have only one daughter, and she went to live with Tamok when she was young, and she continued to live with him until the collapse of An Long Wang, and then she returned home and she later married. She had 3 children now.
Donc, elle avait quel âge quand elle a vécu?
How old was she when she lived with Tamok?
Answer: she went to live with him since she was 13 years old.
Et jusqu'à quel âge?
Up until what age?
She lived with Tamok until she was 30 years old, and when she returned to me, she could not read nor she can write any Khmer.
Est-ce que vous avez un neveu
Do you have a nephew who was commander of a regiment, and which regiment was under Tamok, who commanded by Tamok?
Yes, I have a nephew called Sim Hon, who was working in a regiment in a division which I forget, but yes, he was in the military unit.
Est-ce que le nom de Yep
Does the name Yep Duk remind you of anything?
Answer: no, I don't know this individual by this name.
Est-ce que vous avez eu l'occasion, pendant la période
During the period of democratic Kampuchea, did you have the opportunity to go to the Leibo Cooperative?
Answer: yes, I have been to this cooperative. I went to Leibo Cooperative to organize a clinic. The district chief told me that the Chinese delegation will visit to the place, and I was instructed to organize that clinic to be clean, to be in a proper manner.
vous receviez des médicaments,
Did you receive any medication or assistance from China?
Answer: I received that medication and aid from Cambodian cadre, but those medicines were from China.
est-ce que le personnel de l'hôpital
Was the staff at the hospital able to read the instructions regarding medicines from China?
Hospital staff could not read any Chinese language or any foreign language. No one could read any foreign language at our hospital, at my hospital.
Mais vous pouviez lire en français.
But you could read in French.
Answer: yes, I can read some French language, but not very much. I could read indication on the flute bottle or ampules, but I could not read very much.
Revenons à Label.
Let us return to Label, who was the director and the secretary of Labor Cooperative.
Answer: Labor Cooperative chief at the time when I was there was Ke. His name is Ke. He was called Take. He could not read, nor can he write any Khmer, even a consonant or a word.
Et qui était au-dessus de Takit?
And who was below Taket? Was that the district secretary?
The supervisor of Take was the district secretary.
Alors, je vais demander...
Mr. President, if it is possible, I would like the witness to be shown a photograph. That photograph is from a documentary, a video, whose reference is E3/3091R. E3/3091R.
The President, your request is granted, Judge.
Et je précise que c'est...
Let me point out that this photograph has the following reference: 43 minutes, 35 minutes.
Vous connaissez la personne qui...
Witness, do you know the person on this photograph? I do not know whether that photograph can be placed on the screen for the parties.
The President, the AV unit is instructed to show the photo on the screen.
Non, c'est pas... Enfin, alors, je répète, il s'agit d'une...
Let me repeat that this video footage was taken and the timing is 43 minutes 35 seconds.
Voilà, donc, monsieur...
Very well. Witness, do you recognize this person on the photograph?
Answer: no, I don't recognize him.
Bien. Alors, on va revenir.
Very well. We will return to the question I asked when I started reading the documents I was referring to earlier. I now have the ERN references D313/1.2.409. The French ERN is 00 80 86 63. The ERN in English is 0072 90 78. The ERN in Khmer is 0041 18 863.
Il est dit ceci.
And this is what is stated on the document regarding the serum. The fear that people would fall sick after consuming the medicine. In that case, the producer would also be at grave risk. So I tested it on rats, after which I could apply it to men. A villager who was of the 17th April people came to get medicine in my commune, and he died on the spot, whereas the care provider hadn't withdrawn the serum. I tested the medicine on a rat, which immediately died after the injection. Free translation. I called the care provider and the commune chief to come and see the test I administered to a dog. The dog died immediately after the injection. Question: what happened when someone died? Answer: nothing. Because he himself came to ask for the serum with which the care provider administered the injection. As for the care provider, she was ignorant and illiterate, especially when she administered an intravenous injection at his request. The death was immediate. It appears that he wanted to die like everyone else in the face of the rigors of the regime, except for myself, perhaps. Since I could read quite comfortably, I always thought of my survival. Witness, has what I've just read out to you rung a bell?
Answer: yes, I can recall some of them, but the nurse did not use the medicine to inject, but the patient who brought with the medicine, and the patient told the nurse that he or she would use this medicine in Phnom Penh, and then the commune nurse who injected the person, and the patient died after the injection.
Bien, je vous remercie, Monsieur le témoin.
Thank you, Mr. Witness, for patiently answering my questions. I do not have any further questions for you.
The President, thank you, Judge Lewain and witness. Now it is appropriate time for lunch break, and the trial chamber will in recess for lunch break, and it will resume at 1:30 this afternoon. And court officer is instructed to coordinate the witness and his duty counsel to take a break during lunch break, and have both of them back in the courtroom at 1:30 this afternoon. And security personnel are instructed to bring Mr. Kilsampon to the waiting room downstairs during the lunch break, and have him back before 1:30. The court is now in recess.